I want you to succeed at things that you never thought were possible, and I want you to fail at things that you never thought were possible. But I just want you to take that failure and move forward.
This morning we're going to talk about the image of black men in our society. Black men are 6 times as likely as white men to be murder victims. They are 2.5 times as likely to be unemployed. They finish last in practically every socioeconomic measure from infant mortality to life expectancy. And some think that black men in America seem almost an endangered species. It's interesting that many people perceive black men as less intelligent, less productive, more hostile than the rest of society. We thought it would be interesting to confront these stereotypes. We have with us this morning to share their insight 3 very interesting men. Ishmael, how do you feel?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Imperfect podcast. I am your host, El Ray. Probably haven't done a podcast for about 2 months at this point, and when I turned on my computer today, it told me that I haven't done a podcast in 2 months because I had to use my laptop. So I couldn't figure it out in time. Plus, tonight's guest was early, the opposite of that. But, like I said, man, when it comes to my content now, I'm not trying to force anything. I'm trying to wait for a perfect moment where it's content plus the time to actually get it done. I don't want to just put out something and it not be kind of what I want to do. I want to be able to teach and learn with every single episode. And at this time, I felt that it was the perfect combination of that. You know, we had the Olympics, and it actually just sprung on my mind that tonight's guest we used to be teammates playing football, and he's accomplished a lot of things, did a lot of winning, won a little show called Survivor. I'll bring him in right now. Tonight's guest is my man Jeremy Collins. How are you tonight, sir?
What up, Ray? How's it going, brother?
All good, man. I can't complain. I run into a lot of people that don't have the time for anything, and I know you're a busy guy, so thank you first and foremost for coming on tonight.
Hey, no problem, man. I gotta hook you up, man.
For sure. So how's everything going tonight? I know we were talking a little bit, but you could give everybody the little idea of a day in the life.
Hey, man, it's hectic over here, man. Like I just came back I was in Indianapolis with my daughter. She's playing basketball. So her AAU program was down there. She was down. I went down there with her to play. She played in where were we at? We were in Tennessee, and then I came home because I had to work, and she stayed there. Then she went to Kentucky, and then she went to Indianapolis. So I met her back in Indianapolis the next week. And then we came home. I drove home from Indianapolis last night.
Damn.
Yeah, it was a lot. And then I get up this morning, and you know I have 4 kids, and the 2 youngest are the 2 boys, and so they get up. They haven't seen me in a couple of days, so we're running around and running around the house. Then I had to take him to football practice or a football game. We had a little flag football game. So it's been hectic, man. It's been hectic.
That sounds like it. I'm not trying to drive home from Indianapolis. I've been to Indianapolis. I'm not trying to go to Indianapolis, let alone drive from it.
It was I think we did it in 14 hours.
Damn, it's that far away. I never drove. I drove it from Arizona to Boston to Indianapolis. Damn.
Oh man, I can't even imagine that.
Well, Arizona. Yeah, it was. That's 48 hours.
Yeah, that's not, yeah.
So like, as far as we at now, you're a pretty like multifaceted individual. How do you explain yourself? Like, how do you on notice? I've realized recently that I'll get out of conversations with people. I've been talking to them for 2 hours, and I'll talk to somebody else about them, and they'll be like, "What do they do?" And I'll be like, "I don't know. I don't ask people what they do.
Yeah.
I just judge you on the type of person you are, and that's how I expect it to be on the other side of it. So like, I guess like, if you were in an interview process, when they say, "Tell me a little bit about yourself," what's the thing that you are most proud of, and the other things that you feel that you need to be mentioned?
I'm most proud of being a dad. I got 4 kids. I have 2 daughters. Jordan's 18, Cameron's 15, and 2 sons. Remy's 5 and Lennox is 4. Uh, I'm most proud of that. That's my legacy. That's what I live for. I live for them. I'm married to my wife. We've been married for 16 years, and and I'm a firefighter. I've been a firefighter for 21 years, and that's it, man. That's all it is. You know, like, I played a little Survivor a couple times, but man, this is what I do. I go to work as a firefighter, and I come home and take care of my kids. That's all I do.
I played Survivor. So I mean, as far as the Survivor thing, like, and like the show Survivor, if anybody that's watching, it's one of the biggest shows in the damn world at one time. Do you feel that that was like a huge accomplishment? Did it change you at all, or?
So Survivor. So a little thing about Survivor. Survivor has been on 20 years. It's been on the last 20 years, and the longest running uh, reality show on TV. It's just crazy, and I knew I could. I knew I was gonna get on it from like I watched it the season 1, and I knew I was gonna get on it, and I put in for it. I put in for it, and 10 years later, they finally got me. And they would Ray. They call me every time I send an application. They call me every time.
It
But
took you 10. So you was applying from the beginning.
yeah,
Because that was actually going to be one of my questions. I was like, is this something like, did somebody bring you down there like, you need to do this? Because I always felt like you was one of those dudes like that should have been on the hand bikes in American Gladiators.
yeah. So like years ago, I think I could have done that type of stuff. You know, I could do all that. When I was younger, I could do all that stuff. But like, I didn't want that. All I knew is like so when I was in college, I ran track in college, and we would have workouts every 2 days or whatever. And the workouts were so crazy. Our track workouts, they were like you would have to do like 2 4s, 2 2s, 2 3s, 5 1s. You know what I mean? Twice. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I've done that pyramid workout and threw up everywhere.
Exactly. So I would be like, yo, I'm gonna throw up. So I wouldn't eat all day, and then I would go and do my workout and throw up.
Yeah.
But at least I'm throwing up like liquids all day. You know what I mean? So I would watch Survivor, and I'm like, yo, they're not eating and they're dying out there, but they have to compete, and I'm like, I can do that because that's what I do twice a week already. Like I could do that, and that's what made me want to get on that show. Like I was like, I will kill these cats in challenges, and I don't need to eat because I don't do it anyways, and that was my mindset. So I would say this, I would send in a video, and I would say like, this is what I'll do. I'll just beat everybody. And they would be like, all right, send more videos, this and that. And then they would ghost me and not call me anymore. And then the next year comes by and they do the same thing, the same thing. So then after like 10 years later, you know, I'm 30 now, or 30, 32 or whatever I was. And I was like, listen, I'm not as young as I used to be. I'm not going to beat everybody in challenges, but this is what I'll do. I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. And they were like, you're ready now. So they put me on. It was crazy.
Oh, they wanted that storyline.
Yeah, it was like, but I wasn't ready. You know what I mean? Like they saw me and they thought I could do well in the game, but obviously I wasn't ready mentally. You know, and once I matured a little bit and realized, like, listen, that's not all the game is. You got to do a lot of other stuff, and it would just so happen that I was getting older and my body was starting to slow down, and I realized I wouldn't be able to do what I thought I could do when I was
Well,
young.
that's what they wanted you to say. I think they wanted that storyline. Have you ever done like the Spartan race or anything like that?
I did it once. It was, I mean, I wasn't gonna do it. My boy was doing it. He called me up. He was going, and I was like, all right, I'll run and do it with you. And it was all right.
So did doing the show like open doors for you? Like any type of door? Like who's the most famous person in your phone?
The most famous person in my phone. Yo, that's a good question. Oh snap. No, I don't know. I mean, I have a couple Patriot players. I got, jeez, and then like reality people. Really, it's not. I guess it's not that crazy. It's a bunch of reality, like a lot of reality star like winners, like
Mm-hmm.
big name, Big Brother winners, Survivor winners, like you know, that type of stuff. I don't think I really have anyone super duper famous like
Your brother commented to say him.
that.
So, I mean, at this point, you're a Survivor winner, a football player, a firefighter, a basketball player is still under investigation. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's not. Hey, you got to talk to Donnie.
I don't gotta talk to Donnie. Donnie can't do anything with me in basketball. He's gonna. I'm sure he's gonna listen to this. I mean,
he came to one of my games. I was playing out in Foxborough, and he was. I don't even know if he was in town. He was in the area. But he came down, and I showed him. I was like, "Yo, it's a different game than football. Like football, I'm fast. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
I got little quicks and fast. But in basketball, it's all quicks. I changed my whole game up, man.
Oh yeah, I'm quick in basketball, man. I'm not quick anywhere else but there.
Hey, I will say this. I remember the craziest memory of you playing football. I don't even remember where it was, what game it was, but I ran, like I was across the middle, and someone got it, and you came on the other side to block, and I remember the dude disappeared, yo. You cleaned that dude out, yo. His whole body, like you came and he disappeared. You just like engulfed him. Boom! And I said, "Oh man!" And the whole sideline went crazy. Yo, I'll never forget that hit. Man. That was wild.
I remember that game, but I had like 60 of those after that. But he wasn't there for those, man.
I left, man. I was done after that. Man.
So I mean, at this point, you're like the new Black Captain America. I don't know if you've seen that show yet. Captain America's black now.
What?
What? Yeah, bro. What? You haven't seen? What's it called? Falcon. What's the name of the damn show? I don't know. Man, somebody see it in the comments. I watched Winter Soldier. Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I haven't seen that yet.
Captain America's black. He got the shield and everything.
Oh man.
It's Anthony Mackie from the
yeah. Okay, that dude. Okay.
Yeah, he's Captain America. I ruined the whole damn show for you because you working too hard. So I mean,
yo, my boys would usually watch that. I don't know why they're not on top of it.
Yeah, it's a good show. Y'all should check it out. But I mean, basically, what I wanted to do is talk a lot about like real speed, and obviously, when I saw you, and not only just saw you on the field, when I heard your times, I was like, this is different. This is a different type of speed that people don't understand. And I see a lot of people. I hear them talk about, oh, I ran this 40 and this 40, and even when you had left the team, people would say like, yo, did you hear this 40 that this dude ran like in the NFL? And I'm like, I don't think y'all know that Jeremy was faster than like 90% of the NFL now. Like that time is still faster than 90% of the NFL now. So I don't remember like off the top of my head what the times were. I think the 200 was a 20.9, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was something like that.
A 20.9. What was your best 100 time? The 20.9 was indoor or outdoor?
That was outdoor. Indoor, it was like 21. I want to say 21.2. I forget.
So you ran slower indoor?
Yeah.
What was your 100? Your best 100 time?
My best 100, I want to say it was 10.3. Mm-hmm. I want to say it was something like 10.25. I forget, man. It's long. I do remember my 400. My 400.
Yeah, because that's still a record.
Yeah, my indoor 400 is still a record. My outdoor 400, I ran a 45 before.
Damn, that's fast.
Yeah, I remember that, man. I'll never forget that.
I was in a Connecticut meet once, and I saw a dude run a 49 with a cast on his hand. High hurdles.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like, how is he doing this? So, I mean, for anybody that's like watching right now, to put that time, the 20.9 200 in perspective, Tyreek Hill's outdoor 200 best time ever was a 21.2, and Randy Moss was a 21.5. Now Tyreek's indoor best time is a 20.4. So he had
oh my God.
Yeah. So I mean, but now we're talking about this was a record that you set in 98.
Oh my God. Oh, I think it was. Yeah. Man. Yeah.
So now you go to Tyreek Hill running it fairly recently, and indoor time's beaten by a 0.5 second, and outdoor time, your time is faster. So it's a very big difference to what people don't understand when it comes to speed on the track and how fast people really are. And
it's different, man. It's different. People don't understand it.
Another thing is like when I watch a lot of amateur football, and I did a combine once in Arbutus, like I hosted it, and we had about 70 guys, and they were all, you had a bunch of dudes ripped up with dreads, and there was only one, this was 3 hand time clocks.
Okay.
Only one guy ran a 4.6, and he was a white D end.
Really?
Everybody else was 4.8, 4.7, 4.9.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't think people realize what this thing is. Like, when did you personally realize the type of speed that you had? Were you just like that kid that was annoying and raced everybody?
Yeah, I was the fastest. Like when I was in the 5th grade, I was the fastest in my elementary school. Like I was always the fastest, except my brother. My older brother Caleb, he was always faster than me.
Don't start with this. He's in the comments, man.
I know he's gonna love this. He's gonna love this. He was always faster than me, and he remembers the time when I surpassed him. I don't remember it, but he said it even recently. We were talking about it, he was like, he remembered the day that we raced and I beat him, and he was pissed. And I don't even remember it because to me he was always the fastest around. Like I would beat everybody, always the fastest, and except for this dude, he was always faster than me. But yeah, I don't know, like just from like young, I asked my father about it, and he was like, yeah, he just always knew, like, oh yeah, he was quick. You know, I used to run a lot. I would have nightmares that I couldn't run fast. Like I was running in slow motion. Those are my nightmares.
he said I'm still mad about it in the comments. So do me a favor, explain, because I posted in this group the other day, and one of the dudes was like, he posted like this hand time on his cell phone. One was a 4.5, and the other one was like a 4.4 high. And then another dude posts and just goes, "Yeah, I ran a 4.1, but I don't have the picture." I'm like, "You ran a 4.1 electric?" And he was like, "Nah, hand time." And I'm like,
yeah, okay.
I said, "So you're not just the fastest in this league, you're the fastest in the history of the NFL."
Yeah, that's ridiculous. If you're that fast, they'll find you a place in the league. Like that's ridiculous.
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't believe that either. I think receiver is the hardest place in the most expendable position in the NFL. Like they'll just be like, "No, you're fast. I don't care unless you can do this or this."
Oh no, they'll put you, if you're that fast, they'll put you at D-back.
But you were that fast. So what happened? You were 4.1 fast, but Bethel Johnson was.
So I was, all right, so I got on the fire department. Like I came out of college, I got on the fire department, and I was like I would be working, and I'm like sitting there like, I am in great shape. I'm the fastest person I know. And what am I doing here? And so I made a couple calls. I'm like I'm going to try to I'm going to try to go to the NFL. Because I knew I was just fat. I was still fast. So then that's how I ended up playing for the Panthers and everything. Like the dude told me you need to get film. So I went out and got film by doing the Panthers. I was like, I need to somehow get some type of game film because I haven't played since my sophomore year in high school. You know what I mean? And so that's how I started doing that. And I don't know. I never made it, man. I guess, like, I think if I tell my kids this all the time. I said, if I didn't stop playing football after sophomore year, there was no doubt in my mind that I could have made it to the league. There's no doubt. I really strongly believe it. I remember some of my high school coaches were in, like, one of my high school coaches played for Michigan, and he would come to practice with guys that were in the league. You know what I mean? Like Ty Law and Lloyd Malloy and, those type of guys. And they would be there. And I remember one day they said, "Yo, that kid right there," they would just tell him you go out there and run with that wide receiver. And you can go to Michigan next year. You just go run with that wide receiver. And I thought about that. I'm like, really? Like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And I just never even followed up. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go play basketball. Like,
yeah, I mean, it happens. Like, I didn't play basketball in high school at all because when I would come out of football season, I couldn't shoot.
Yeah.
It was like I wasted too much time playing football, so I couldn't go and shoot at all. So I was like, I'm not even going to be good right now.
Yo, that's why I stopped playing football. That's why I wish my parents smacked me in my head and said, "No, you're not doing that." But like, I remember, like, after sophomore year, I was banged up and everything, and I remember tryouts were going on, and I'm sitting on the sideline because I hurt my wrist and stuff. So So you get back, and then you have at least 2 weeks to get in basketball shape. You know what I mean? And you got to get that shot going. You got to start handling the ball, and like it just took so long. So I said, I'm not doing this ever again. I got to get ready for basketball earlier than this.
And then the other thing with basketball is that once I realized I had to go practice on like Christmas vacation, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I need a vacation, man. I can't be doing this after this football season. That's crazy. And then I was about to play when I was in college, but I was like, good God, I was practicing every day and shooting every day. So obviously, with the football thing, because I tell, like when I talk to young men now, I tell them if you're gonna try something, make sure you fail or you succeed. So that way, you know, you don't hear like all these old ass fucking dudes always making these excuses. I was once gonna be this, but it's like just because you left something in limbo doesn't mean that you were gonna be it. So as far as like track, do you feel that you left track in limbo? Because I feel like with football, you obviously see some opportunities where you could have maximized it one way or the other, but with track, I imagine in track, because one of my boys also, you know, he was a step out of the Olympics. One thing he said is, first of all, everybody's on steroids, so if you want to take it to the next level, you have to take it. And he's like, second of all,
I heard that.
and then he said, second of all, one day you just get this to a wall, and it's like, man, I can't beat this guy.
You know what? I don't know. Like I've always been the fastest that I know, like in the area. But my buddy went to one of the guys I ran track with. He transferred and went to Arizona State, and he called me up and he was like, "Yo, there's like 3 of you here," and I was like, "Really? Like, there's that many dudes like that?" He was like, "Yo, he's like, if you came here, your 4x1 relay would be bananas." You know what I mean? And I was like, "Wow, like so, like I was like I'm fast, or I was real fast, but like, yo, there's some monsters out there that you just like, I don't know, like I wasn't all in on track like I should have been. I did track because I was fast. And some of these guys are fast and love it and dedicate their whole life to it, and those guys are gonna just beat me all day. You know what I mean? So I was just, I just did it because I was fast. You know, I qualified for the trials, but provisionally. So like how that is say the Olympic trials, everybody in 100 they have to run a 10 flat to qualify, right? And they're looking to get 30 people, but only 20 people run 10 flat. So then they take the next 10 provisional times and they qualify. So the 10 ones, the 10 twos, or whatever, and the next 10 will qualify. That's where I qualified for the 10. So I wasn't even like I was fast, but I couldn't even sniff the Olympic trials. You know what I mean?
But that's your 100 time I see people run. I see people run like 10-4 electric in high school, and I don't even. No, okay. I didn't get to that.
No, but that's even the two. Like I just gave that 100 as an example. That was for the 200 as well. Like
yeah,
like there's just monsters out there that just like I just don't think I could have. Like I put it this way, I know that I wouldn't make it to the NBA. I know that I wouldn't have made it to the Olympics because I just know my limitations. But like I really believe the NFL was doable for me.
it's crazy. Like you think about it like that because you're talking about there's monsters out there, but you just said 30 people in the whole United States. So you within a 50-person circle of the entire United States in speed. Like I don't even know if you knew the Tyreek Hill time until I told you.
No, I didn't know that. That's cool to hear. But I don't want to like say like I know I was fast. You know what I used to do? We used to take off in the plane when I was in college, and I would look out the window and I would actively think like everywhere I see right now there is nobody faster than me. And I would like we would take off and we would fly over New York, we would fly over Rhode Island. You know what I mean? And while we're taking off, I'm like, everywhere I see, there's nobody faster than me. And I really thought like I knew I was like legit at one point. You know what I mean? But like there's just monsters out there that you just like some of these guys in California and in Florida, like that they just do this all year round and they're just monsters.
But once again, here's another one for you. Santana Moss was the fastest person in Florida. You're faster than him where you were.
Yeah.
So when you put it in perspective like that, like I looked at the times and I'm like, and obviously Santana Moss, he was Mr. Florida. He literally was the fastest person on the track in the state at that time. But when you barrel down 50 people, yeah, there are. You know, I mean, like Saeed Ahmed, he went to Arkansas. That's the best track school there is. You know, Dom, who's in the comments, he ran a 4.29. He said, "Let's race right now." He's probably the second fastest person I know. Yo, he showed up to a Twilight meet, right? Didn't know how to get out the blocks and ran a 22 electric.
That ain't bad.
So do me a favor. Explain the difference between hand time and electric time, whether it be the 100 or the 40. Because I'm sure some of these dudes are literally running and holding their phone themselves.
Oh, yeah. So if you run, so basically if you're running a hand time, if you run a 4.2 electric, it's a 4.44. You know what I mean? You're adding 0.24 on everything, and that's minimum. Because you know, and a lot of these guys, they're like, on your mark, set, go, and they start, and then they hit it. You know what I mean? Like, and they're finishing before, so it's a lot of human error. But and then there's a lot of people that want it to be faster than it is, so they
can tell the story. Of course. I mean, what the way hand time's really supposed to work at a combine is you're supposed to have 3 people with the hand time, and then you average between the 3. So you holding your phone yourself is a joke. That's number 1.
Yeah.
And then whatever you run, you're gonna go, all right, I like it to be rounded down. And that's not
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think there might be one running back in the NFL right now that runs a 4.4. And the faster I think is the dude Barkley. Saquon Barkley. Like he runs a 4.3 high. You could see it. It's evident. But like somebody like LaShawn McCoy didn't run a 4.3. Look at how fast he is.
What about what's his face? On the Saints, what's his name?
I can't remember his name, but he's fast. I think he ran a 4.3 high as well.
Yeah, he's quick. My son loves that dude. What's his face? I can't even think of
it. Yeah, he ain't even getting the ball no more. But like I remember before, and we'll get into it down the road. Like a lot of even the NFL players have these crazy fake times. I mean, why wouldn't you? Because if it ups your stock, then
you
so
get
big.
money. That's all money. It's all money.
Yeah, like I said, man, I think wide receiver in the NFL is the most competitive position there is. I don't see any other thing like it. I mean, running backs are dime a dozen now, but once again, like Bethel Johnson was one of the fastest people. What's the other guy, Phillip, whatever, that was on the Patriots? He was the fastest person in the league at the time, and he's not even in the league.
Oh, yeah.
They were just like, Philip Dorsett. And then you just get yourself out. So there's different aspects of what they want. And I've heard, like, if you're not even listening the right, you better be like Randy Moss, dynamic. In terms of like that type of dynamic speed. Because if you're just fast and you feel that that's it at wide receiver, you're not going to get away with that. Corner, you can get away with it. But I feel like even walking on to the NFL, wide receivers, it's very, very hard to do it. Like, you got to be like a niche skill position player or like a fullback or something like that where they can sneak you in. Because, for instance, for them to tell you need film, no, you don't. You just need to see my track times. Because if Usain Bolt wanted to be in the NFL tomorrow, I'm sure you give him a tryout.
Yeah, but he's the fastest ever. You know, like that's the difference. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't know. Like, there's a lot of fast guys out there that are in the league, and I don't know. Maybe if I got in front of the right people or something. I don't know. But it's a lot of luck. If you're not playing, you know, throughout high school and college and stuff, you got to have a lot of luck and as well as a lot of speed and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, man.
I don't think anything. I'd want to hear a story about it. If somebody has that in the comments. I don't know of any receiver that went from semi-pro to the NFL, but I do know a lot of D tackles, D linemen, tight ends, shit like that went and walked out of the NFL. Like, I feel like wide receivers, like, you can really be missed. Like, you can be that good, and then, like, you don't get on at the right college, you don't get seen the right way, you don't, like, for instance, Lorenzo, who's in the comments, one of the best running backs I play with. Obviously, he was not used right in college.
He's all right. Hey, he's just okay.
Obviously, he wasn't used right in college because, and then I'll tell you right now, my other boy Joe, who went to URI after you, He was playing semi-pro at like 25. He has an NFL physique. That's one of the biggest things. I've read books on like NFL drafting, what they look at. Your physique is number one. If you look like you should be there, then they're gonna be like, all right, you look like you should be there. And then after that, they'll see how you look after that. And he's physical as hell and fast. I don't know how fast.
I get that. But I think that's for everything. You know, like I think like we went to I was in Indianapolis this weekend with my daughter. So my daughter's a freshman, and she's playing the freshman division, and we played a team from like California, and the girl, one of the girls walked in, and we were like, oh my god, like is her father Brian Urlacher? You know what I mean? Like she was humongous and like jacked. Her legs were huge, her arms. My older daughter said, like she looks like she's my age, and my older daughter's gonna be a freshman in college. You know what I mean? Like she was just a monster. And one of the guys that I was sitting with, he used to coach for. He was one of the assistant coaches for University of Florida girls basketball, and he said, I would offer her a scholarship today, without even seeing her play. I would offer her a scholarship right now.
I think so. For women, I think it's a lot different. Like I think that if you can see potential a lot easier than you can with men, because like I said, if I did a combine where everybody was ripped up, running with dreads and grills in their mouth, the average person is gonna be like, oh, this dude looks fast, like like the old Toyota Celica commercial. But in actuality, you're slow as shit on the field. But with women, if somebody's looking that built as a woman, they're usually crazy physical, crazy fast. Like when Marion Jones just said, I'm going to go to the WNBA, nobody even knew she played basketball. And then she would just like throw the basketball out to herself and be fast break before anybody can even touch her.
But she played at University of North Carolina. Like she was legit in basketball.
Yeah, I mean, obviously she went to the damn WNBA, but nobody knew. But most women that are super athletes can like turn it to whatever they want, especially like just strong sprinters can just go, I'm going to be what it is, because your athleticism is so much better than like I always say this to people when they're like, oh, women's sports and men's sports. I'm like, to be honest, like the fastest woman ever is not faster than the fastest man that you know. So when you find very strong and fast women, they're mostly going to dominate whoever else you might see.
Yeah. Wait, that's about right. Yeah.
No, it's right. I know, like in like high school times that I've seen a dude run like a 21 low in high school, a 200 electric, and I was like, damn, this dude, and he was like a lanky white dude. It didn't look like he was even running fast.
Yeah.
But like somebody like Chris Johnson, everybody used to say, oh, they'll say, and we'll get into this now because I have a couple of myth 40 times that I want your opinion on. NFL myth 40 times. Chris Johnson ran the fastest 40 for a running back ever at 4.29 in the NFL Combine, which was electric. Now, a couple of guys have surpassed him since. But so like people used to say to me, yo, Bo Jackson's faster than him. Or Bo Jackson's faster than Darren McFadden, who had the second fastest running back time ever. I said, no.
Oh, I didn't know that. McFadden did?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He was like a 4.3 low. And he might have ran a 4.292. I think he was after Chris Johnson. So I can't remember what it was. Look that up, man. Put it in the comments. Let me know. Do you think Bo Jackson ran a 4.1? In the 80s?
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think that's real. I think he was pretty fast. I think he was up there, but that's.
So
huge.
I mean, to be honest, he wasn't even.
And he was huge too. He's a big dude.
He wasn't the fastest guy on his team. He had James Jett on his team. That dude was a damn world-class sprinter.
Oh, remember him? Yeah.
So like they look at me like I'm crazy when I'm like, yo, there's no. So there's and I'll send this video to you after because you're gonna love it. It's a YouTube video, and it's like it looks like a bar graph. They look at literally every Olympic gold medalist winner from the beginning of time to now, and they have them graphed next to each other, and it just looks like an upward moving graph, except for of course the 979 year where everybody was roided out, and they were way faster than they should have been at that time. The next question I have is another 40 myth, because the Bo Jackson ones people always go, he said it himself, and I'm like, he's lying himself.
What about Dion?
Well, Dion's claim is that he can run a 4.2 backwards.
But Dion was moving.
But so Dion, to me, he said it ran a 4.2, but once again, that was still hand time at the time. I would give him a 4.3, but he wasn't faster than Darryl Green.
I don't know. I believe that. I believe Dion, man. I believe Dion. That dude could move.
But Darryl Green was the fastest. He won like every year when they raced the Pro Bowl. They used to race every year.
What he
McFadden in a 4.33. Darryl Green ran a 4.4 electric after he retired at 40.
Yeah.
And that's real.
He was
And then
he played for a while too. Yeah, he played deep in his years, you know.
Yeah, he was playing forever, and he was still a good nickel at the end of it and all that.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the allure, and I know I'm talking about this a lot with people, especially with Dion and other like Nike athletes, is that at the time the persona became so big, and Bo knows this, Bo knows that, like that it carried on a life of its own. Prime time carried on a life of its own. So like, I don't know. The last one of the mid 40s to me is T.O. running a 4.3.
I don't know. I tell you what, the dude looks good still.
Oh, he looks good still. There's no question about that. I seen like the biggest difference is that I think when you look at NFL speed versus what people think is NFL speed, like for instance, we used to play against Brockton, and that dude Harold Shaw used to have run off like 60-yard runs on us. He was in the NFL. Yeah. But he was old, and he was still way faster.
Yeah. He played arena football.
Yeah. There's another dude like I don't even know if you saw this kid, but we played against him. He from Albany Metro Maulers. His name's C.J. Tarver. I couldn't even touch him. It was like you try to tackle this dude in a phone booth. So when I was playing against him, I'm like, and he played arena too. There's a YouTube video of him doing a spin move on like 8 people. I've never played against something like that in terms of that's how slippery he was. And I'm like, if he's like this, then what is like Deshaun Jackson?
Yeah. Yes. But like I said, that's like there's some dudes out there that are just different, man. There's just and like again, like
DK Metcalf.
But there's dudes that are just different, man.
Yeah, when you get on like Julio Jones, he runs a 4.3. But his steps are just, I wouldn't even know what it was like to cover him.
Yeah. You see, DK Metcalf wants to race against Tyreek Hill right now?
I don't know if he's going to win that one. There's another guy that I always talk about. He used to play for the Falcons. I can't remember what his name was. He looks like the fastest in the NFL to me.
He's there now?
I forgot what team he went to. I talked to Lorenzo about it too. He knows what I'm talking about, but I can't remember the dude's name. He ran 2 screens one time, and I was like this. He's just not as talented as what Tyreek Hill is, and he doesn't get the targets either.
Yeah. There's a dude that's on the 49ers. One of the dudes on the 49ers is supposed to be the fastest in the league right now.
Yeah, he's always trying to challenge Tyreek Hill online. They go back and forth and argue on Twitter.
He's legit. He's like track speed. He got track speed. He's like a monster.
Yeah. I mean, Tyreek Hill, I seen him run a 21, and he was in like basketball shorts. I'm like, this dude's a fucking he's a maniac.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Dion, who's the best wide receiver ever? Who's the best cornerback ever in the NFL?
Jerry Rice.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Rice he's always going to be the GOAT to me. Always. And like Dion's the man. Like those are like my two favorite NFL players of all time. Like I can't go against Dion, and I'll never go against Jerry.
Jerry scored 5 touchdowns on Dion before.
Did he?
One game. You can look it up. Listen, I look at this stuff all the time. I look at it all the time. Jerry,
he was sticking him 5 times and he scored 5.
Once again, I don't know if he was sticking him 5 times, but I can tell you if Darrelle Revis was in the game, I do know he would be sticking him 5 times. Because Darrelle Revis to me is the GOAT of corner.
Really?
Yeah. Of shutdown, like man corner. I've never seen anything like it. And better receivers at the time. Way better receivers. It wasn't like Don Beebe. He wasn't covering Don Beebe.
Better than who? Better than
No, the era of receivers. Because for me, I'm a Moss guy, so that's whatever. But he was playing against Moss and T.O. and Chad Johnson and Steve Smith in the same year with Calvin Johnson.
Also, who are you thinking? You're saying Moss is the best receiver of all time, and
Revis.
Revis is the best quarterback.
Revis is the best man corner to me.
All right.
Moss is the best receiver, and it's for me the differences between Moss and Rice have a lot to do with the offense, the targets, the quality of quarterback play.
How old are you?
Me?
How old are
I'm
you?
38.
Yeah. Really? Oh my God!
Most people that watch the Niners thought that Taylor was better than Rice.
I've never ever.
You'll hear it from people that watch him, but
I've never ever.
but I don't like the two quarterbacks. How do you say that Steve Young and Joe Montana are two of the best quarterbacks ever, and Jerry Rice is the best wide receiver ever? I've never seen that before. Who's the best? Who's the best quarter? Like Moss was taking Bubby Brister and he was throwing 3 touchdowns in a game, or Todd Bauman, or Randall Cunningham at the end of his career. But
who Moss?
Yeah,
you mean Dante Culpepper?
Yeah, well, Dante Culpepper retired after Moss left. No, Randall Cunningham was his first quarterback. What? Yeah, bro, he had the #1 quarterback rating in the league with Chris Johnson and Moss. I mean, with Chris Carter on one side and Randy Moss on the other.
Yeah.
You don't remember that? They went to the they lost to the.
No, I don't know. I thought that was Dante.
Nah, Dante. They went far with Cunningham. They had the best offense in the. So that's another thing. Randy Moss was part of the 2 of the 3 best offenses in league history on 2 different teams with 2 different quarterbacks. That's crazy.
No, listen. I got my second. But Jerry, man, he changed the game, man. He was the best, yo. He did it for so long, and like.
So Jerry to me is what Marvin Harrison was. I saw the same thing with that.
But Jerry wasn't even the fastest. Like he wasn't the.
No,
fastest.
He ran like a 4.9.
Yeah, the dude he was like a regular guy, but he just worked hard and trained hard and just perfected his craft, and he just did it. You know what I mean? Like, he was a monster. Like Randy Moss is a freak, yo. This dude 6'5", can run like the wind. He catches everything in a 10-yard, a 10-foot radius around him. You know what I mean? Like he catches everything.
But that's another thing. I don't think Jerry's hands are anywhere close to even Chris Carter, let alone Moss. Chris Carter has the best hands I've ever seen.
Chris Carter's hands were probably the best. Like could have been the best.
No, they're the best ever to me.
Yeah. But that's another thing. Like so, Jerry wasn't a freak of nature, and he wasn't like the greatest at any one thing. But when you put it all together, the dude just like crushed everything, broke all the records.
But the coach, the quarterback, they were the greatest. They were the greatest at what they did. The offense that they were running at the time was the greatest offense that was invented at the time. That nobody knew what to even do with it. That's why you could run. You never just said, "Hey Jerry, I'm running a fade and you can't stop it." No, it was like slanted in cuts and a post that turned into 60-yard running way. And I'm like, I don't even think you could do that to some of the speed that you see now. But then again, I mean, with the Raiders, that was glaring as well because they were still doing it there.
Yeah. I mean, but again, because he wasn't the fastest, he wasn't the biggest, he wasn't the strongest, he didn't have the best hand. But when you put everything together, and the system helps, yeah, but the system helps everybody. You know what I mean? Like, there's nobody better. The dude's a monster. He's just a freak. You see him walking down the street right now, you're like, who's this little guy? You know what I mean? You see Randy walking down the street, you're like, yo, that dude's something.
No, but that's why I compare him to Marvin Harrison, because Marvin Harrison's tiny as well. But I mean, he was shooting people at car washes, so that whole thing changes. I don't know. So that's the same way you feel about Dion. Like, have you seen a game where Dion, you were just like, damn, he shut everything down, or was it like, damn, he gets interceptions and almost return? It's like a better version of Asante Samuel to me.
It was so Dion was more like I grew up watching this dude and saying like, yo, this dude will tell you, come on my side, anybody on my side, you're not getting the ball, and he just runs with you. He picks it off. He high steps. He's showing out, and he talked a big game, and people came at him, and he still just did his thing. And I'm like, yo, that dude's a monster. He's just the best.
But
it's not even like the technique and like tackling and all that. Like, we could talk about all that. Like other cornerbacks tackle and he didn't. Like that's fine. But like the entertainment value and the straight, like I'm gonna lock you down. Don't throw it to my side.
So that's what it is. It's the prime. Who are they gonna throw to? Art Monk or Don Beebe? Somebody like that? Because Revis is going wherever you go, on whoever you want to put him on. And I saw him take Steve Smith, and Steve Smith could not run a slant in the whole game. And Steve Smith is good.
I mean, he did. He was good for a couple years. Like Revis was good for a couple years. He did his thing for a little bit, but I don't know. Like Dion, ain't nothing like Dion, man.
Oh,
ain't
see,
like
you got. I'll take your Jerry Rice, but your Dion thing, yeah, it don't sound like you remember any coverages. It just sound like you remember the the commercials and the gold chains.
I mean, I wish. You know what? I wish I knew we were gonna talk about this, because then I'm like, oh, let me go back and like remember some of these things that Dion did. I was just watching it as a fan, you know what I mean? But I didn't know we were gonna have a conversation.
You gonna watch? Yeah, go back and watch after this, and then you're gonna see Michael Irvin put 150 and 2 touchdowns on him in the playoffs. I've never seen anybody do that to Revis ever.
What didn't Moss get him a couple times?
Yeah, and he had 40 yards receiving in the game. Look that up. And once again, to me, Moss is Moss. So it is what it is. Same thing with Moss when he got that catch on Charles Woodson, who's also to me better than Dion. Charles Woodson won Defensive Player of the Year when he was like 35.
I'm high on Woodson. I'm high on Woodson. But Dion's my guy.
All right. I don't know. Got a couple more for the night. So, I'm not trying to get you in trouble with the Survivor people, so answer this very carefully.
Okay.
So, obviously, current event, Sha'Carri Richardson. What do you think about that situation? What's your opinion of that?
I think it's too bad. I think that, she understood what she was doing. I think that what she was doing, there was nothing wrong with it. She was grieving for her mother. She did it in a place where it was legal. And I think when everybody realizes some of these rules are stupid and need to be changed, I don't see why they can't change it right now for her.
Mm-hmm.
They can do that. You can change a rule. It's fine. So it's just too bad. Like I get it. She knew what she was doing. She knew she was doing wrong. But like, some of these rules need to be changed.
So I guess the other question is, and I don't know if you know this, but that she was able to compete in the relay, and they kept her out of that as well.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen what she looks like, but it's my opinion. And I don't, like I said, Survivor. This is El Ray's opinion. I think she's on steroids, and Nike's protecting her.
Do you?
I'm gonna show you a picture. Can you see my screen?
I can see it.
That's you.
Okay.
Okay? You see that arm definition?
All right.
That's her. You see that right there? What's all this?
Yeah.
Who else looks like that?
You can't just say that, though.
Why not? Why isn't she in the relay? Tell me why she's not in the relay. I feel like Nike put so much money behind her that they were like, it's weed. It's weed right now. And she's just like, I'm not going to put up a fight. So
you think that she got caught with steroids and they just hiding it?
I think that she might have gotten caught for both, and then they just backdoored the weed and was like, look, you're going to have to get this together. We'll call it weed so we don't destroy. Because obviously, in the eyes of the United States, if they hold it out, that they don't look like, an embarrassment to the Olympics. If it's like, we're not going to look like we're trying to cheat like all these other countries are trying to cheat us if she gets caught at a further point than this. Because, I don't think people realize Olympic testing is insane.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to get caught. But, watching 979 where they talk about how people are cycling on and while they're cycling off, when they were talking about Ben Johnson, the Jamaican track sprinter was like, we were far off drugs by that point. He should have never came up with a positive test. And they said basically that Carl Lewis had sent somebody in to take the sample because he was tired of losing.
I heard a lot of stories about Carl Lewis and stuff. I don't know. I can't. That's a conspiracy theory right there. I'm not high on that.
Survivor.
I gotta see more proof than She looks jacked.
Who else looks like that as a sprinter? As a female sprinter, other than Marion Jones? And you already know what that was.
Go back to the picture. Go back to the picture.
Let's see that picture again, man. Yo, listen, man. What you think, Dom? What you think about these muscles? Look at right this deltoid, that little thing right there. Dom, you don't even got that. When you was lifting with Ash, you never had that.
Look at the girl behind her. Like, she looks jacked.
No, she don't.
Yeah, she does.
What's she?
They're like the same.
No,
size. Look at her shoulder. Look at her shoulder.
She got Dwight Howard shoulders.
Yeah, you need more than that.
No, look at this guy though. He don't even got those shoulders. He don't got those shoulders. She'll put you in your face right now. So, I mean, that was my last question for the night, man. Basically, for all the guys that are tuned in, if you're going to hear it, the podcast, you can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Google Podcasts. I don't know if you've kind of got the vibe of kind of what this podcast is, but it's really about holding up some of the black and brown men in this world that are doing very good things. I really didn't get to talk about this with Jeremy today because I wanted to, because we got caught up in the sports a little bit, but like I spoke with him on the phone this week, and I mean, like he said earlier, his most important accomplishment that he has to explain to people is his kids. He won Survivor. He's telling me I could be going to LA and to New York so I could do TV and do movies like everybody else is doing. But the most important thing is for him to be there with his family. Obviously, you guys know I do the Sunday service show where we have, 4 different black men talk about family aspects and how successful we are. Like I said, 70% of my friends grew up on welfare, and 75% of my friends now own their own home. Those are big things. I had somebody they literally text me early in the week and he goes, how the hell do you know Jeremy? I'm like, well, how'd you get Jeremy on the podcast? And I said, I know him. And they were like, damn, you know everybody. I said, no. And this is one of the most important things that I kind of want to harp on before we end this episode is stop building up people that you don't know, because I have not done an episode yet with a podcast on one of my podcasts with somebody that's not in my circle. So everybody that I've done a podcast with so far is in my circle before I even need to go out, and we have talked to and met with some exceptional people, some high achieving people, and some exceptional parents like Jeremy is, man. Like, you driving back from Indianapolis, I got people that live next door that, man, I don't know if I can make your event. I don't know if I can do that. Oh, you should have reminded me. I'm hearing all these types of stories. And my man drove back from Indianapolis and was, went to his son's practice, ended up being the coach by accident, and then was still able to keep these, promises that he had made to me to come on my episode and discuss these type of things that we wanted to kind of get out there and discuss. So, I mean, it's very important if you want to be successful to be a person of your word. There's nothing more important to me than my word. And like I said, Jeremy, man, I thank you for doing everything you needed to do to make it on the podcast tonight.
I got you, man. I got you. And listen, I don't even do a lot of these things. Like, I get asked a lot to do some podcasts and stuff like that, and I just say no. Like, I don't want to do it because this ain't my thing. You know what I mean? I go to work. You know what I mean? Like, I go to work and I go take care of my kids and I do that. Like, I'm not about the podcast. When you hit me up, I'm like, yo, I got to. I got
you see that, man? All you football players out there, make sure you stay on your blocks because that's why I got him on the podcast. Yo,
because I don't want to. I saw what you did.
And it was the Panthers versus Randolph. Everybody needs to know 2 teams that don't exist anymore. I came in for 2 plays, and one of the plays I knocked the dude out. His entire career was over. Number 9.
Yo, dog, that made me want to stop. I was like, yo, if dudes like this around here taking people out, I think I need to look at a different.
Shit, man. Well, thank you, man. Have a good night. Thank you, everybody, for joining and commenting, except for Ralph and Lorenzo. Have a good night, bro. Thank you. Bye.